Hello and welcome to Box, where we unbox, review and demonstrate the latest tech. Today we have with us this Nanrobot Lightning 2.0 e-scooter.
The Nanrobot is a scooter built specifically for the budget-conscious commuter. It's a solid, well-built, powerful machine that supports you on a wide range of terrain types with no worry of punctures in sight. Though it's not exactly for the casual rider, this beast can easily keep up, reaching speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, leaving no doubt that this scooter can get you where you need to go in record time. Taking it out of the box, you will definitely need another pair of hands here. It's already pre-assembled to an extent, all that's really left to do is unfold it, charge it up, and you're ready to go. Of course, this is a hefty piece of kit. It weighs around 29 kilograms, which is definitely something you shouldn't be attempting to lift alone. The weight does make it hard to maneuver around, but it's technically like a small vehicle built for outdoors, so I would suggest unboxing it outside or in the space that you're planning to store it. Alongside the scooter, you'll also find a handy set of Allen keys, ranging in size, a power brick and cable, and a full instruction manual. It's powered on using a combination of a key and pressing the power button. There are 2 keys included, one to keep with you and a spare just in case you lose it. Assembly is quick and simple. All that's required of you is to unfold the handlebars and secure them into place using the clamp located on the front. It also works the same way if you want to fold it down for storage or placing it in a car, which is handy to know. The handles themselves just need to be placed into the mount and securing at the desired angle using the 4 screws provided. It's suggested that you use the Allen keys to tighten all potentially loose screws before taking it on its first run, as certain parts like the headlight for example may not be fixed in tight. The manual states that the battery takes roughly 8 to 12 hours to charge fully with one charger. There are 2 charging ports if you want to connect another charger and half the time, but with the power already in the scooter out of the box, it did only take a couple of hours to get enough charge to test it out.
It has a 48-volt battery that when completely charged can offer an estimated range of 20 to 25 miles. Now it is a fixed battery, so unfortunate for some, you will have to charge it even after a short trip, depending on how far you need to go.
The charger consists of a 7-inch long power brick, bookended by 2 decently long cables, measuring at about 80 inches in total when connected together. The power brick does have a handy LED light on the top though, that turns from red to green when fully charged. The Nanrobot measures about 49 inches tall and 44 inches long from wheel to wheel. Compared to your average scooter, it's surprisingly large and familiar to the public transport types seen in UK cities. There's some decent suspension on the front and back, with 2 spring shock absorbers, all carefully supported by these robust 8-inch tyres. Though this can be useful for off-road terrain, it does leave the platform sitting roughly 9 inches off the ground. Now my first thought is that the scooter was built for slightly taller people in mind. The handlebars sit 40 inches high from the footboard on default, making it a little tall for the shorter user. I'm around 5'9" myself, and riding this scooter is a perfectly comfortable experience for me.
One thing's for sure, this is definitely not designed for children and younger users. It's high off the ground, it's heavy to manoeuvre, and it takes a bit of work to perfect the technique of taking off and braking safely due to the power behind it. But if you do want a powerful scooter that doesn't go above budget, it is a cheaper, independent transport solution for getting to and from work depending on your local laws.
Taking a look of all of the controls on the handlebar and the display panel, there's a good selection on offer here. On the left there's an ignition, the button for the horn, a switch for the rear indicators, and the on-off switch for the headlight. On the right you'll find the buttons for enabling eco, turbo, single and dual modes, as well as the power switching controls for the display. In the middle sits the full LCD control panel that shows all of the helpful running stats from battery power to speed, right down to travel distance. There's not much to control here, using the plus and minus buttons on the right handlebar to alter user modes and change gears, but it's really easy to see even in bright sunlight, and the information is quick to understand even at a brief glance while riding.
There are a few features to note here, like the interchangeable stats along the bottom and the ride mode buttons along the right. Now I like how I can change the display on the bottom of the control panel to measure the distance of a singular trip, or the collective kilometers that I've driven over a lifetime, just like you could in a car. Now, knowing the battery lasts around 18 to 20 miles, it's good to compare the distance with the battery usage to get a good idea on how long the battery can last on my particular journey.
This e-scooter is great for commuting to and from work thanks to the addition of the headlight on the front, indicators and brake lights. It feels more like a serious vehicle, as I can indicate my movements to other drivers on the road and I can still get about safely at night. The last feature to note is of course the kickstand. It kicks in and out in a nice smooth motion, and even though it's sitting at an angle when mounted, it does support the weight nicely, keeping it standing up steady when I walk away.
As good as all the specifications and features sound, with electric scooters it's always worth taking any information you hear with a pinch of salt. There are so many varying factors that can cause the performance to vary from day to day, like weather conditions, inclines, terrain, gears, distance, and the weight of the rider.
We tried out the scooter in summer on a very hot, dry few days. We used it for about 5 hours, putting it through increasingly more difficult conditions as we gained confidence. As a pretty average height and build, our riders could use the scooter as intended, pushing it to its full potential. However, it's also incredibly inclusive, managing a weight of up to 280 pounds or 20 stone. Though a heavier weight may impact max speed, it's surely hardy enough to support a wide range of riders, which is something you don't see in any standard e-scooter.
Taking it out for a test drive, we wanted to see how well it drove on different terrains at various speeds. Now, I have very little experience with road-ready e-scooters, so I had a little trouble at first understanding how best to kick off.
It does need a little bit of a push before you press the throttle for a smooth start, as pressing the throttle in a stationary position will cause it to jerk out of your grip. First thought though is that it's incredibly powerful and fast. It easily takes you up and down small inclines, and it really gets going on flat roads and pathways. Even pushing off on a gravel-lined path on a slight incline, it managed to push forward quite easily despite a little wheel spin at the start. The tyres have some excellent grip. I felt safe taking slight turns at speed, and it stayed on track with no worry of sliding out of control. The front handlebars don't really have a lot of movement from side to side, and making big or sharp turns can be slow progress, especially when trying to turn it 180. The weight is also a huge factor when manoeuvring over curbsides and potentially grass and obstacles. I found it best for driving on straight roads, country lanes, and deserted pathways, especially knowing that I couldn't suddenly change direction at will. Now, it does suggest that it won't work particularly well on wet or icy roads, so I feel the best conditions for braking and with the restricted turning to only ride it on dry and very grippy roads. Of course, this scooter can reach some impressive speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. In first gear, with the throttle pressed all the way down, it did reach highs of 20 kilometers, which roughly converts to around 13 miles per hour. When upping the gear to second, however, I felt the speed pick up significantly, reaching highs of around 27 kilometers per hour or 16 miles per hour alone without pressing the throttle down completely. Knowing this, I can honestly predict that it could easily reach 30 miles per hour in third gear, making this perfect for commuting around towns and cities at a good pace, provided you have the sufficient safety gear. The only issue we found is trying to keep a consistent speed. Now, with a sensitive throttle, it can be easy to press it down slightly and rapidly increase the speed. The best and safest speed for public areas is definitely first gear. I had better control at a slower speed, and it was easier to brake quickly if needed. Testing the brakes, you get both front and rear, which is perfect for those higher speeds. I tried both front then back brakes in first gear, coming to a sudden stop when travelling at 20 kilometers per hour. I feel it did an amazing job at stopping firmly enough with both brakes, but not so suddenly that it launched me forwards. Sudden braking will of course wear the tyres down faster, but it is reassuring to know that the brakes work well against higher speeds. Something important to note is how incredibly sensitive the throttle is. It's definitely something to be cautious of when turning it on for the first time. Even tapping it accidentally can cause the scooter to shoot forwards, sometimes making it difficult to regain control once it starts moving. With this in mind, I'd highly suggest that you only turn it on in outdoor conditions.
As it's much more powerful than some of the e-scooters on the market right now, I'd highly suggest following as much of the safety information and instructions in the booklet provided as you can to avoid any accidents. For example, I always made sure that I only turned on the ignition and control panel power together when I was about to set off. That way, I didn't give it any excuses to move until I was ready. Now in the UK, the current laws for electric scooters are still quite strict. At the time of making this video, e-scooters are classed as motor vehicles, and privately owned scooters are illegal to ride in public spaces, especially those dedicated to pedestrians and cyclists. But with the upcoming transport bill and public e-scooter trials taking place across major cities, there is a possibility for e-scooters to be made legal in the near future. With this in mind, I feel the additional safety features on this scooter could make it the perfect option to meet the initial safety requirements for legal road use.
So if you're looking for a hard-wearing, road-ready e-scooter that has the potential to meet new regulations, then this scooter might just be the perfect cost-effective, future-proofing solution for the daily commute.
So what are your thoughts on this Nanrobot Lightning 2.0? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Box, where we have plenty of hands-on reviews on the latest tech. And as always, thanks for watching.